But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. This is John's purpose for writing under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And who is the co-author of this fourth gospel? He's the son of Zebedee and the brother of James the apostle. Mark 1, verse 19 and 20. When he had gone a little farther, he saw James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John in a boat preparing their nets. Without delay he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired men and followed him. He's the youngest of the 12 disciples, apostles. He's one of the inner three, Peter, James, and John, whom Jesus takes with him to witness 3 different occasions. First, at the raising of Jairus' daughter, Mark 5:37, he did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. He takes them with him to the Transfiguration, Matthew chapter 17. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. John is separated with Peter and James in the Garden of Gethsemane to watch and to pray, Mark 14:33. He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed and troubled. And of course, they all failed Jesus miserably that night. 5 times in this fourth gospel, John calls himself the disciple whom Jesus loved. John is next to Jesus in the upper room at the Passover when Christ institutes the Lord's Supper. John 13:23, one of them, the disciple whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. John is the only disciple mentioned near Jesus at his crucifixion. John 19:26, when Jesus saw his mother there, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." John is the one who outruns the older disciple Peter, John 20:1-4. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, "They've taken the Lord out of the tomb." John identifies Jesus from the boat, the 3rd time the risen Christ appears to the disciples. John 21, verse 7. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It is the Lord." As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, "It is the Lord," he wrapped his outer garment around him, for he had taken it off, and jumped into the water. John followed Jesus and Peter closely when Jesus reinstated John 21, verse 20. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved was following them. This was the one who had leaned back against Jesus at the supper and had said, "Lord, who is going to betray you?" This fourth gospel is unlike the synoptic gospels Matthew, Mark, and Luke. John opens his gospel and presents to us, the reader, the Christ of eternity. John 1, verse 3, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made." John's gospel is a gospel that preaches in a simple and easy, understandable fashion. Here's one example. John 1, verse 12. "Yet to all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God." Anyone can understand this gospel. John's Christmas story is a single verse. John 1, verse 14, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." John's gospel reveals that Jesus is the great way. He does it first to the woman at the well, John 4:26. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. am he. He does it the next time when he feeds the crowd, in the crowd of 5,000 men, not counting women and children. John 6:48. I am the bread of life. In Jerusalem, when he attends the Feast of Booths, Jesus says, John 8:12, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Next, in John 10:11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And at the tomb of Lazarus, John 11:25, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live, even though he dies. In John 14, verse 6, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. There's power in the name I am. In the garden, when they came to arrest him, John records, chapter 18, verses 4 through 6, Then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, Whom do you seek? They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said to them, I am he. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them, and when Jesus said, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. This fourth gospel reveals there is life in his name. John 1, verse 4, In him was life, and that life was the light of men. John 20, verse 31, But these are written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. This week in our readings, and I'm going to skip all of chapter 1 of John. We could spend a lifetime at this chapter and go straight to chapter 2. John chapter 2, Jesus and his disciples attend a wedding at Cana in Galilee. Now, as far as we know, there have been no miracles from Jesus. Mary, the mother of Jesus, who was apparently helping out with the wedding celebrations, bring to Jesus this urgent concern. They have no more wine. John 2, verse 4, Jesus responds, Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. Skip down to John 13, verse 1, when John records, Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them unto the end.